Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. The big problem in relationship discussions. And just to make this abundantly clear, this is overall. This ain't just focused on the black community. Sometimes people think I'm talking, they think I'm just focused on the black community. But actually, in my relationship work, I've dealt with all communities. My books sell all over the planet. I have several coaching clients who are from other races and ethnic backgrounds, other continents. I mean, I've even had a coaching client who's a white South African. So this is global. This ain't just a thing. And it's the same thing. I've seen it so much. See, here's the problem. And I've discussed this before, especially people who follow me a long time on a metaphysical level, but I'll keep it, shall we say, simple right now. When you look at relationships, there's always a social side and a sexual side. In fact, I've talked about that in videos and podcasts before about people having a social phase and a sexual phase. The big single problem in relationship discussions, there tends to be a focus in most of the public discussions just on the social side. Now, I've shared several times when one of the last relationship panels I did, and the reason why I'm not big on them, and I'm talking about not on YouTube, but in the real world, is that there's just such a more of a focus on the social side. Because this one I did that really kind of turned me off to like future panels was that the host, he asked the people after we had a break, like, do you want to discuss romance or you don't want to discuss sex? Ron was like, we need to discuss sex. Everybody wanted to discuss romance, but that's the social side. Because, of course, it's important how people getting along outside the bedroom. It's not something that don't need to be discussed. It's extremely important. It's extremely important. And, you need to say, okay, how y'all going to relate outside when y'all talking to people, when y'all in public? How y'all going to relate in a relationship as far as paying bills, as far as just getting along, period, outside the bedroom? And that's what mostly people focus on. If you think about like dating and stuff like that, that's outside. That's outside the bedroom. That's social. You going to a restaurant, play, whatever you're going to do on a date, that's the social thing. And marriage is more of a social thing anyway. If you talk about marriage, that's more of a social thing. If you look at history, that was more for business. It wasn't that thing called love, which, in my view, is nothing but another way of saying lust anyway. It's more business, it's more social, but you need that. And then the other side, but you still need the other side too, the sex side. Now, usually sexual discussions about relationships, rarely done in public, because even on YouTube, if I put sex in a title or approach that issue, those I always have to have the video or podcast manually reviewed, because I always get a message. Oh, limited ads. Like people don't want to discuss it. Even in a lot of these discussions between why women choosing certain men, why men choosing certain women and stuff, or especially why women choosing certain men, people leave out that sex side. People leave out that sex side. They chose that particular man because they wanted to have sex with him. It's that simple, And I'm going to tell you how deep the social and sexual sides are. You have people on a subconscious level develop certain personas, and it affects everything in their lives. Now, I've talked about this. I got the terms from my mentor, Master Yao Yamache Morris. He talked about this in his landmark book, Amamara. And it was one of the most genius things. He talked about because of the split, and I've seen this through my own research. Anybody can really see it if they pay attention. You have some people who focus more on the social side of the relationships. And I got deeper into why that is in some books, but I ain't going to get too deep into that now. because that, trust me, that opens up another conversation. But the people who focus on the more social side of relationships tend to be what Master Yao called reverent intelligentians. So they not focused on the sex part. Now they have sex and stuff, but it's not going to be the same way that the other side will. But they focus more on they'll be focused more on just getting along with the person, having togetherness, companionship, all that stuff outside the bedroom. Just in simple terms. In fact, a lot of them, even if they get married, that's the basis of a lot of sexless marriages or relationships where the couples haven't had sex with each other yet, or it's a big thing. And the biggest thing that causes it is a subconscious level of sexual repression. So they focus on the social side. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. It just is. But then you got the other side, which Master Yao called sensual bohemians. Now they more focus on the sex side. That's the more carnal side. That's the more, where the intelligentsia might be looking at a potential mate's education, class level, a bunch of social things, whether they can hang out or something like that, whether it looks good to the peers. The bohemian is more like, damn, they look good. They look good. Let me get with them. They got that nice body and, nice looks. They're giving off that sensual aura, right? And just to be clear, all humans got both within them. It's just a question of which one they focus on more. But see, the big problem in the discussions, everybody just focuses on their side, especially in the public ones. Because I remember there was a prominent psychologist who wrote a book about what men need to do to satisfy a woman, and she didn't talk about sex at all. She talked about, hey, washing the dishes and taking out the trash, all this other stuff. And I was just like, yeah, but these women want just a big D. And, but those things were still important, but you didn't bring in the other side. And see, that's the thing. That even causes conflict, because you might have two people of two different orientations, subconscious orientation of bohemian and intelligentsia, arguing with each other. So one's arguing for the more sexual side, the more sensual side, and then the other one's arguing for, the more outside version, a social thing. And, they both right, but they both seeing it from different perspectives. They both right. That's the thing. Neither one is wrong, because that's when someone gets wrong, especially those who are extremely on the social side. They'll say someone on the sexual side is just wrong. They wrong and evil. But okay. But how's the human race going to keep going? How's the human race going to keep going? You still got to have sex. And that still plays a part in who you even attracted to. Even for the intelligentsia, they still get that part of them. They still get that sensual part in them, no matter how much they can try to bury it. And even for the sexual, on the more bohemian side, the sensual side, they still need some type of order. They still need to deal. They can do what they can in the bedroom, but they still need to go outside the bedroom. Because even then, even in situations like you have this, and maybe not as public, but maybe in communities that practice, sacred sexuality, they're more open about it. Behind closed doors, and I know this for a fact, behind closed doors, they'll talk about, oh, you know what, we need to bring more order into this. You'll have some women out there like just throwing it all around and doing all the crazy stuff, going to the parties firmly in the underworld. But then there are times she wants that husband. You'll have some men who are players. And I saw this when I published my book, Nice Guys and Players. They want a little bit more order. In fact, I even said that in Nice Guys and Players. I said it was for the nice guy, in order to get more women, but also for the player to get that one woman he wants. Because usually the one woman he wants, she wants order, or a little bit more order. And, It's a big difference. So you got those two sides. You got those two, and that's the big problem. People ain't like bringing a balance in those sides. But there's a solution. There's a solution to that issue, and even in relationships, because like I said, I'll get in more into that in the next one. So stay tuned for that. I'm just telling you the overall problem, with the discussions focus on one side or the other. So I'll give you the solution in my next podcast. So I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.